topic of today's lesson, social responsibility. In this lesson, we will look at what a socially responsible company is, what the 7 principles of social responsibility are, how social responsibility can be applied in organized civil society, the market, and government, and the role of councils in ensuring the quality of projects aimed at society. Let's get to the lesson.
Hi everyone, I'm Edna Nojima, and today we're going to talk about social responsibility. What is a socially responsible company? It's one that meets the criteria set by evaluation organizations, like ISO 26000, which assesses all the impacts of the company on society and the environment. So this is the definition of sustainability. So, the concern of a socially responsible company goes far beyond its activities. It sees how it can create positive impacts on society and the balance of nature through ethical and transparent behavior. For example, not dumping polluting substances into rivers, reusing water, and taking care of parks, flower beds, or community spaces around the company. This understanding is shared among various countries and organizations. Social responsibility, ISO 26000, it has some principles, and we're going to talk a bit about each one of them. The first principle is accountability, which boils down to taking responsibility for actions, being accountable for the impacts caused on society, and adopting measures to minimize and mitigate negative impacts. 26000, it has some principles, and we are going to talk a little about each of them. The first principle is accountability, which means taking responsibility for actions, being accountable for the impacts caused on society, and adopting measures to minimize and mitigate negative impacts. The second principle is transparency, which requires providing clear information about data and facts that could affect them. Next comes ethical behavior, which means acting correctly, based on the values of honesty and integrity, following international norms of conduct. The fourth principle is respect for stakeholder interests. Who are these stakeholders? They are any group or individual that has an interest in the activities and decisions of a company, or who may be affected by those decisions. Next comes respect for the rule of law, which means obeying all the laws and regulations enforced by the government, all current regulations. The sixth principle is respect for international norms of conduct, which focuses on sustainable development, including the health and well-being of society. The seventh principle is respect for human rights, which means ensuring that all activities of your organization, your company, do not directly or indirectly harm society or stakeholders. Now let's see how social responsibility can be applied in civil society, organized in the market, and in government through sustainable partnerships where we share economically viable, ecologically sound, socially responsible, and culturally accepted projects. In popular segments, we share different types of initiatives with representatives of society such as regional, community, and religious leaders, councils, unions, and so on. In the business sectors, social responsibility is applied alongside representatives of sectoral entities in commerce and in industry. And in the technical professional segments, we work alongside representatives of professional associations, which include doctors, engineers, lawyers, accountants, and the unions that represent these professional groups. Within this topic, it's important to highlight the role of councils in evaluating social projects that are submitted for public approval. Projects considered socially responsible usually go through the approval of councils, since their representatives have the power to give opinions or make decisions, taking into account the benefits for society. Councils also serve as a tool to ensure popular participation, social control, and democratic management of public policies and services. Public policy councils are created by the initiative of the state. They should be made up of representatives from the public power and representatives from civil society. The decisions made are either deliberative or consultative. The council members do not receive any compensation. It's a 100% voluntary job, and the necessary structure for these councils is provided by the public authorities. The councils are made up of representatives from civil society and the government in equal proportions, with the civil society appointees not holding any position in the public power. And the role, just to remind you, as already mentioned, is not paid. Here are some examples of municipal councils. We have the Health Board, the Municipal Schools Council, the Security Council, the Women's Council, the Municipal Women's Council, the Municipal Council for People with Disabilities, the Guardianship Council, among others, which also have very relevant participation. Download our booklet to see the more complete content of this lesson. And leave your message telling us what you thought of the class. If you have any questions, send them our way. Okay. A hug and see you. The next topic. Thank you very much.
Did you like this topic? The topic of the next class is social inclusion policies. Always follow us, okay?